This is the land of Havilah, Exodus 8. The Egyptians are finding water by digging along the river. After 7 days, verse 1, Yahweh spoke to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and tell him, this is what Yahweh says, let my people go that they may serve me. If you refuse to let them go, behold, I'll plague all your borders with frogs, and the river shall swarm with frogs, which shall come up and come into your house and into your bedroom, and on your bed, and into the house of your servants, and on your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. And the frogs shall come up both on you, and on your people, and on all your servants." Comment: Pharaoh must have said no because of what happens next. Verse 5. Yahweh said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, stretch out your hand with your rod over the rivers, over the streams, and over the pools, and cause frogs to come up on the land of Egypt." Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. The magicians did the same thing with their enchantments and brought up frogs on the land of Egypt. Comment: The Egyptians couldn't make God's frogs go away. They could only make more frogs. Satan never does anything helpful, and he can't negate what God has done. Of God, quote, "His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back?" Isaiah 14:27. In answer, Satan can't turn it back or anyone else. Verse 8. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, "Entreat Yahweh that he take the frogs away from me and from my people, and I'll let the people go, that they may sacrifice to Yahweh." Moses said to Pharaoh, "I give you the honor of setting the time that I should pray for you and for your servants and for your people, that the frogs be destroyed from you and your houses and remain in the river only." He said, "Tomorrow." He said, "Be it according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like Yahweh our God." Comment: in verse 8, Pharaoh said he'd let the people go to make a sacrifice. It's the first time he's cracked a little. In verse 9, as a further sign to Pharaoh, Moses said the frogs would be removed at a specific time, whatever time Pharaoh would name. Pharaoh said, "Tomorrow." He must think Yahweh needs a little advance notice. God's been telling Moses what to say ahead of time, but then when Pharaoh answers him, it seems Moses has to think on his feet. How does he know what to say? In chapter 4, verse 12, God told Moses, "I'll be with your mouth and teach you what you shall speak." End quote. It seems God taught him some of what to say in advance, and the rest of it he taught on the spur of the moment. Verse 11, "The frogs shall depart from you and from your houses and from your servants and from your people. They shall remain in the river only." Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried to Yahweh concerning the frogs which he had brought on Pharaoh. Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courts, and out of the fields. They gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was a respite, he hardened his heart and didn't listen to them, as Yahweh had spoken. Comment: Pharaoh reneged on his statement that he had let the people go. This is in stark contrast to the way the prophets of God operate in Genesis and Exodus. The prophets went to extremes to follow through on what they said. When Isaac accidentally blessed Jacob instead of Esau, Isaac trembled with anger that Jacob tricked him, but he said the blessing was irreversible. He knew he couldn't rightfully take it back under any circumstances, Genesis 27. The same should apply to us. We don't commit ourselves unless we're going to follow through. Matthew 5:33 through 37. Quote, "You shall not make false vows." Matthew 5:33. Pharaoh's of his father the devil. John 8:44. He doesn't feel any compunction to keep his word. God's committed to keep his word, though, to bring Israel out, as we go to verse 16. Yahweh said to Moses, "Tell Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the earth, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt." They did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and there were lice on man and on animal. All the dust of the earth became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. The magicians tried with their enchantments to produce lice, but they couldn't. There were lice on man and on animal. Comment: Pharaoh's magicians could turn water to blood and make frogs, but not lice. Verse 19. Then the magicians said to Pharaoh, "This is God's finger." But Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he didn't listen to them, as Yahweh had spoken. Comment, they said this is God's finger, but God said he'll show his hand, chapter 3, verse 20, and his arm, chapter 6, verse 6. Wait till they see those. Verse 20. Yahweh said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh. Behold, he comes out to the water. And tell him, This is what Yahweh says, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else if you'll not let my people go, behold, I'll send swarms of flies on you, and on your servants, and on your people, and into your houses, and the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are. I'll set apart in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end that you may know that I'm Yahweh on the earth. I'll put a division between my people and your people. By tomorrow shall this sign be. Comment, God says, I'll put a division between my people and your people. Often it seems God doesn't put a division. Everyone across the board can get sick. Everyone across the board can have a tornado hit their house or be struck by lightning. Jesus commented on calamities in Luke 13, verses 1 through 5. When a calamity strikes, it doesn't mean the victim's a worse sinner than the next guy, Jesus said. When calamity strikes, it's a general message to everyone, victim and observer, that all should repent because one day we'll all go down by some calamity and meet our Maker. But in the case of the fourth plague, which is flies, and some of the coming plagues, God's making an exception to the rule. He's putting a division between his people and Pharaoh's people, with the calamity being on the Egyptians only, according to Moses' prophecy. Verse 24. Yahweh did so, and there came grievous swarms of flies into the house of Pharaoh and into his servants' houses, and in all the land of Egypt the land was corrupted by reason of the swarms of flies. Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, Go, sacrifice to your God in the land. Comment, Pharaoh says he'll allow a sacrifice, but Israel must do it without leaving the country. Verse 26. Moses said, It isn't appropriate to do so, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to Yahweh our God. Behold, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and won't they stone us? Comment, sacrifice to Yahweh is an abomination to the Egyptians. They'd stone an Israelite for sacrificing to Yahweh. Therefore Moses says we can't sacrifice unless we go. Verse 27. We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahweh our God as he shall command us. Pharaoh said, I will let you go that you may sacrifice to Yahweh your God in the wilderness, only you shall not go very far away. Pray for me. Comment, Pharaoh agrees. This is the second time. The first time he reneged. Verse 29. Moses said, Behold, I go out from you, and I will pray to Yahweh that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. Only don't let Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting the people go to sacrifice to Yahweh. Comment, let's not deal deceitfully with God. It won't work out. Verse 30. Moses went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. Yahweh did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also, and he didn't let the people go. Comment, so far there's been blood, frogs, lice, and flies. Pharaoh's waffling between hard and not so hard. Right now, he's hard. Exodus 9's next at landofhavilah.net. Exodus 9.